You can buy this home, the one in front, or both. Not every day you get this choice in Kailua.
1.65 million for this home, 1.1 million for the smaller home sharing this exact lot, 2.75 million if you want both. Two brand new listings, same lot, same day, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how that works and what the real Coconut Grove numbers say about whether it's actually a smart buy. I'm Oksana with Island Living Oahu, here in Kailua's Coconut Grove pocket, bordering the Kawainui Marsh. I'm not just going to give you a tour, I'm going to break down the real MLS and market data behind this two-home lot so you know exactly what you're looking at before you ever write an offer. Here's the structure. This lot is split under something called a CPR, a condominium property regime, Hawaii's way of putting two fully separate, individually deeded homes on one piece of land without a formal subdivision. Both units just hit the MLS on the same day. Both brand new listings with no prior sale history, which tells you this isn't a reprice story. It's a fresh decision by the seller to test the market both ways at once. This unit, the larger of the two, is 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, just under 3,000 total square feet across 2 stories, listed at 1.65 million. The smaller home sharing this lot is a 2-bedroom cottage, listed separately at 1.1 million. Either one can be bought entirely on its own, or you can take both for a combined 2.75 million and control the whole lot. The listing itself estimates rental income of about $6,500 a month for this larger unit and around $2,200 a month for the smaller one. So bought together and rented separately, that's a combined estimate near $8,700 a month before expenses. Numbers worth having your own lender and property manager verify before you build a plan around them. Run the yield on those estimates and it's genuinely informative. On this larger unit, $6,500 a month works out to just over $78,000 a year, a gross yield around 4.7% against the $1.65 million asking price. The smaller cottage on its own nets closer to a 2.4% gross yield at $1.1 million. Combined, the whole lot pencils out to roughly 3.8% gross on the full $2.75 million. None of that accounts for taxes, insurance, or an actual mortgage payment. So treat it as a starting point for your own numbers, not a finished one. On a purchase at this size, financing terms move the math more than most people expect, which is why I keep something separate. It's a free, twice-monthly list of close to 100 Oahu homes, where a buyer can take over the seller's existing mortgage, instead of writing a brand new one. Some of those loans locked at 2 to 3%. Click the link below, drop your email, and I'll send it over. Compare that rental estimate to the actual carrying cost on this unit specifically. Property taxes here run about $660 a month based on the current assessment, so even before a mortgage payment, insurance, or maintenance, the estimated $6,500 in monthly rent covers taxes with real room to spare. Though again, get your own numbers from a lender and a property manager before treating any of this as a plan. It's also worth understanding why a seller would choose to list 2 homes on one lot separately instead of marketing it as one combined property. Splitting it opens the buyer pool 2 different ways at once. Someone who only has budget for 1.1 million can still buy in. Someone who wants the full 2.75 million package can do that too. And the seller isn't forced to find one buyer willing to write one enormous check. Both listings went active on the same day, and both are still sitting at 9 days on market with no price movement yet, which tells you the strategy is working roughly as designed so far. Real interest on both sides, no need to cut price this early. Run the actual scenarios, and they're genuinely different purchases. Buy just this unit, and you're in at 1.65 million, for a 4-bedroom home with full lot access. Buy just the smaller cottage and you're in at 1.1 million, but without deeded rights to this yard, unless the ownership agreement says otherwise. Buy both, and the combined 2.75 million buys you every square foot of this lot. Both structures and the flexibility to live in one and rent the other, or rent both. Now the numbers behind this neighborhood, because they explain why a seller would even try splitting one lot into 2 listings right now. Coconut Grove's median sale price over the past year sits at 1.395 million, up close to 14%. compared to about 1.15 million across the rest of Oahu, up 4.5%. Zoom into the shorter windows and the trend is worth a closer look. The 3-month median sits at 1.35 million, up 8%. The 6-month median at 1.395 million, up over 12%. And the most recent single month spiked to 1.7875 million, up nearly 19%, though with a pocket this small, 1 or 2 high sales can swing a single month significantly. So the 12-month figure is still the number to trust for a real read on direction rather than the most recent month by itself. One quick note on how this data gets read at all. A separate sold report covering July's closings here priced Coconut Grove's median closer to 1.625 million using a slightly different methodology and cutoff than the rolling InfoSparks figures I'm using throughout this video. Both numbers are real and sourced. They're just measuring the same neighborhood 2 different ways. Worth knowing, anytime 2 different sources quote 2 different figures for what sounds like the same statistic. Months of supply here is 2.6, while under the entire Oahu, 3.5. Which puts this firmly in seller's market territory. If you haven't run into that term before, months of supply is just the math of how long today's inventory would last at the current sales pace if nothing new came on the market. Under 3 months generally favors sellers. 3 to 6 is considered balanced. Above 6 starts giving buyers real negotiating room. Right now, there are 12 single-family homes actively for sale in Coconut Grove, close to the trailing 12-month average of 10, both pointing to the same reality, genuinely thin standing inventory. New listings in Coconut Grove are up close to 10% over the past year, pending sales up close to 15%, closed sales up over 17%, all outpacing the rest of the island. Median days on market has climbed to 22, up close to 30% year over year, while homes are still closing at right around 100% of asking price, essentially unchanged from a year ago. That combination, slower days on market but flat pricing, tells you buyers are taking a little more time to decide, not backing off on price once they commit. Put those 2 numbers side by side and here's what they actually mean. Days on market tells you how long a typical listing sits before going under contract. Percent of list price tells you how close the final sale price lands to what the seller originally asked. 22 days against 100% of list means buyers here are taking a bit more time to decide than they were a year ago, but they are not negotiating price down once they commit. A healthier signal than either number would tell you on its own. If you're a seller weighing whether to list here, rising new listings alongside rising closed sales tells you demand is keeping pace with supply, not falling behind it, which is the healthier version of an active market. If you're a buyer, it means more days to think it through than you'd get in an even tighter market, but no real room to lowball once you've decided. Here's something worth knowing if a 2-home purchase like this is genuinely on your radar, because the track record on Coconut Grove's CPR lots is mixed, and the real numbers tell a more useful story than a listing photo ever could. 1 pair of homes on a shared lot here sold cleanly at $825,000 each back in 2024. No drama, 2 real closed sales. But when the same owners tried relisting both units at higher prices more recently, one climbed from just under $1 million to about 1.16 million and is currently on hold close to 1.2 million. The other climbed from 875,000 to around 1.17 million to about 1.2 million and canceled. Still unsold after 4 or more relisting attempts on that side. Prices going up with every try, not down, and still no buyer. A different pair told the opposite story. Both units, just over 1,100 square feet each, sold within about 6 weeks of each other. One around 1.18 million after 2 weeks. The other around 1.21 million after about 2 months. No price cuts on either side. A third pair, both newer construction, originally asked over 2.2 million each, sat without offers, then got repriced down. One from 2.2 million to about 1.95 million, roughly an 11% cut. The other from 2.25 million to about 2.1 million, closer to a 7% cut, and both closed shortly after those adjustments. A combined total just over 4 million once the dust settled. And a separate multi-unit CPR property elsewhere in this same neighborhood has cycled through repeated listing attempts across 3 or 4 units without a single recorded sale in this window. The lesson across all of it: the CPR structure itself doesn't determine whether a lot sells fast or sits. Accurate pricing on each individual unit does, the same as any other listing on Oahu. If you're seriously considering an offer on either of these units, that mixed track record has a practical takeaway. Don't assume the other unit on this lot will automatically sell just because this one does, or that a price cut on one side means the other side is in trouble too. Each unit here is priced, marketed, and negotiated entirely on its own, exactly the same as if they sat on two completely separate streets. Zoom out from just those CPR pairs, and the broader Coconut Grove single-family picture tells a similar story. In this same 2-year window, 37 single-family listings in this neighborhood canceled or expired without selling, ranging from about $600,000 up to just over $2.5 million, with a median right around $1.23 million. That's real, sourced off-market inventory. Sellers who tried and pulled back, not because Coconut Grove is a weak market, the closed sale numbers already told you otherwise, but because pricing has to match the moment it's listed. If you're one of those sellers, or you own a lot that could work under a CPR structure like this one, that's exactly the kind of conversation worth having before another price cut with no strategy behind it. As for the home itself, this is a 2-story, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom layout built in 1980 and remodeled in 2014. Just under 3,000 total square feet, with mountain, canal, and marsh views from multiple rooms. The entire upstairs is a single primary suite, genuinely rare separation in a home this size. Downstairs includes several flex spaces that could work as a home office, guest room, or bonus room, depending on what a buyer actually needs, plus a fenced side yard and a backyard bordering the protected Kawainui Marsh wetland, which means the view you see today isn't getting built over later. 2 more technical details worth knowing before you tour. This parcel is recorded as a flag lot, meaning a narrow shared driveway strip connects the street to a wider building area set behind it, a common shape on Oahu, wherever an older parcel got split to fit more homes on it, and it's part of what makes a CPR arrangement like this one physically workable in the first place. And the flood zone designation here is AH, an area of shallow, typically 1 to 2 foot flooding, rather than the deeper water zones closer to open coastline. That's not automatically disqualifying. Plenty of Kailua real estate carries some flood designation, given the marsh and canal system running through this side of the island, but it does affect your insurance cost, and it's worth getting an actual quote from your lender before you're deep into escrow. If you own a larger lot yourself and have ever wondered whether a CPR split like this one could work for your own property, the short answer is it depends heavily on lot size, access, and zoning. This particular neighborhood is zoned R5 residential, which is part of what allows a structure like this to exist here at all. And it's worth a real conversation with your agent before assuming a similar split is possible on any given parcel. Not every lot qualifies. Where does this actually sit against the competition? Right now, the other active single-family listings in Coconut Grove, not counting this lot, range from about $1.12 million up to just under $2.5 million. At $1.65 million, this unit sits toward the lower middle of that active range, while the smaller cottage at $1.1 million sits right at the floor of what's currently available in this neighborhood at all. On the number side, the county values the land under this unit at about $946,000 and the structure itself at about $451,000. A total assessment close to $1.4 million, meaning land accounts for roughly 68% of what the county says this property is worth on paper. That's useful context next to its smaller sibling, where the split runs almost entirely land. And it's a distinctly Hawaii pattern worth remembering. The ground under a home routinely carries more of its value than the structure itself, which matters if you're ever comparing two similarly priced homes of different ages or condition. For context, the smaller cottage sharing this lot is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, 824 square feet of living space, originally built in 1948 and remodeled in 2010. I break down its own numbers in a separate video. Whichever scenario you're actually weighing, run your own numbers against these estimates rather than mine. A lender can tell you what a real mortgage payment looks like on 1.65 million, 1.1 million, or 2.75 million at today's rates. And that number, not the rental estimate alone, is what actually decides whether any of this pencils out for you. Buy both and blend them together, and the combined lot works out to about $667 a square foot across roughly 4,120 total square feet, still under the neighborhood's per square foot average even after combining two separate purchases into one. And if financing is part of your decision on a purchase this size, that free assumable loans list close to 100 Oahu homes, updated twice a month, is still sitting at the link below. Drop your email and I'll send it over. To put the whole picture back together, 1.65 million for this unit alone, 1.1 million for the smaller cottage sharing the lot, 2.75 million if you take both. A CPR structure with two brand new listings and no prior sale history behind either one. Coconut Grove sitting at 2.6 months of supply with prices up close to 14% over the year. And a mixed but real track record on how these two home lots actually perform once they hit the market. Whichever piece of this you're actually considering, the numbers are here for you to work with, not just a photo tour. I'm Oksana with Island Living Oahu. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.